Hi, it's Thomas. We're in Kurdistan, northern Iraq, near the Iran border, and we are hanging out with the women fighters of PJAK, Free Life for Kurdistan Party. This is northern Iraq, a suburban paradise of shopping malls, fast food, and the most advanced movie technology on the planet. Holy shit, they're so far ahead of us in dimensional cinema. It's a pretty far cry from southern Iraq, probably because it sat out the war that's still ravaging the rest of the country almost a decade after we started it.
Hey, ceasefire!
Northern Iraq, also called Iraqi Kurdistan, is a semi-autonomous state with its own regional government, mostly made up of Iraq's Kurdish ethnic minority. The Kurds are mountain folk who live in the overlap between Iraq, Syria, Turkey, and Iran, but don't really belong to any of them. The Kurdish goal for the last century or so has been to carve out a homeland for themselves, a greater Kurdistan, which they've gone about the traditional way, by forming guerrilla armies, blowing up a bunch of crap, and generally making trouble for the countries whose territory they consider their own. So far, the place they've had the most success is Iraq, though through no small help of the USA. We're on the corner of Texas Avenue and New Mexico Lane in the middle of the American village in Kurdistan, northern Iraq. Kurdistan is kind of a major exception to what's happened over the last 10 years in Iraq. It's where the rest of the country has fallen into bloodshed, divisive fighting. It's blossomed. They've had tremendous industries spring up here. There's developments everywhere. They're building gated communities that look like they're somewhere in Southern California. And it's nice.
We are looking to the West as models for us to conduct our affairs by. And what we are seeing from the ruling parties in Baghdad, they are looking to East and to their immediate neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. You go to any other nation in the region, you will find that their anti-Americanism runs rife. The only nation that accepts America fully, despite the few occasions of betrayal in history, is the Kurdish nation.
Throughout their history, the Kurds have been particularly adept at playing their enemies against each other. In the 80s, this meant joining with Iran against Saddam Hussein, which put them at odds with then Iraqi allies us, meaning America. Once Saddam got the upper hand, though, and started his infamous Anfal genocide campaign against them, marked by mass civilian killings and the indiscriminate use of chemical weapons, the Kurdish rebels went from terrorists to freedom fighters in American eyes. During the first Gulf War, when George Bush spontaneously called on the Iraqis to rise up against Saddam, the Kurds took this as a sign of America's full-fledged support and launched a massive assault on the retreating Iraqi army, which failed miserably. During the subsequent bloodshed and refugee crisis, the US military was forced, largely through bad press, to make good on their implicit promise and actually give the Kurds their support. To this end, they established a no-fly zone at the 36th parallel to keep the Iraqi army at bay, and the rest has been smooth sailing for Iraqi Kurdistan. I mean, there was a bloody, fractious civil war for a few years over which rebel group would lead the new country, but otherwise Kurdistan has been doing well for itself, and is generally held up as one of the few success stories of American interventionism.
They absolutely love us. Give us the oil, give us anything. I mean, we've done more for the Kurds than anybody in history. We beat their enemy.
While Iraq is more or less a lock for the Kurds, Kurds in Turkey, Syria, and Iran are still fighting for independence, and even basic civil rights, using guerrilla warfare and suicide bombings to their ends. The US State Department considers most of these groups terrorist organizations, which is a bit confusing considering their support for the old Peshmerga guerrillas who are now running the show in the entire Kurdish government. One of these new groups, PJAK, was formed in 2004 right after the American invasion to specifically target American enemy Iran. PJAK has become notorious for their largely female fighting force, and bears a conveniently vague relationship with the also gender-equal PKK, who fight American ally Turkey. We're on the road from Erbil to Rania. Rania is up in the hills. Today is the 8th or 9th birthday of PJAK, and they're having a little festival up here that we're going to go take part in. The PJAK birthday party was being held at a secret mountain bee farm close to the Iranian border. It was technically a media event, but since having higher-ups from all the major Kurdish guerrilla groups in one location made the risk of an Iranian or Turkish rocket strike especially risky, security precautions were taken that effectively made us the only media covering it. So it was kind of like a personal press conference, just for us. So we're here, we've been driving in the mountains for a while. And this doesn't look like Iraq, and I think actually we're pretty close to Iran. PJAC was designated a terrorist organization by the Obama administration this year, which made me a little nervous that running the receiving line here might turn into a personal Hanoi Jane moment. Or moments. Actually, PJAC occupies a sort of political gray zone where you're not allowed to give them money, but the government isn't really trying to stop them from doing their thing in Iran. Most likely because the thing they do kind of ties in with the things we want to do, which is namely fuck with Iran. The Kurdish independence movement is notoriously factional. It's your basic Life of Brian alphabet soup. There's the KDP, the PUK, the PKK, the KCK, PJAK, all of whom have the same ultimate goal, but just slightly different ways of trying to accomplish it. We tried to get a guy from the PKK to explain the whole spread for us, although he claimed he wasn't part of PKK, but KCK. We're not exactly sure there's a difference, though.
Today, approximately 50 million Kurds living in 4 parts of Kurdistan. It's the same problem, right, whether this is in Iran, in Turkey, or in Syria. We are one people, and basically the solution that we want to see is democratic autonomy for Kurds and democracy for Turkey, for Iran, for Syria, for Iraq as well. Whoever wants democracy to be developed in Middle East, democratic potential of Kurdish people is very important.
PJAC's emergence from the anti-Turkish PKK seems like a pretty transparent attempt to snag American support while still fighting one of its allies. PKK's leader, though supposedly not PJAC's, even told the press in its early days that if the CIA wanted to use PJAC to destabilize Iran, it would be a great idea. Who supports the Kurds? Like, who are your allies outside of the area?
Our allies are our people. And our allies, our mountains. That's all.
Not entirely sold on this reply, we figured spending a day in the mountains with some of their female fighters would help answer the question of who PJAC's real allies are.